Hey, everyone. All right, I'm gonna sit here. Fine, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, hi again. The man, the legend himself, the original Doomguy, John Romero. We are so happy to have you here again. Here again in Spain. He was in Tenerife Game Lab 2022. And now we have John Romero here in Retro Barcelona. How are you, John?
Awesome, awesome. It's very great. Thank you.
So John Romero is here to present the translation in Spanish of Doomguy, My Life in First Person, Doomguy, Mi Vida en Primera Persona, a book that has made his first sold out yesterday. Este libro se agotó ayer.
Yeah.
Sold out. Sold out as in the first edition is totally sold out. We have to print it all over again. You guys got totally rock. Thank you very much. La traducción en castellano, que es a cargo de Héroes de Papel. Spanish translation has been made by Héroes de Papel. You have them there. They are a great publishing house we have in Spain that has translated many video games books.
Yes.
So, John, how was the idea to write your own memories as the creator of Doom, Quake, and so many beautiful legendary games?
I was given a talk in, I think it was Toronto, and I had it was a new talk. And at the beginning of the new talk, I actually talked about some of where I grew up, and I had never done that in any talk before. And people were kind of shocked during that part. And after the talk, there several people said, "You need to like put that in the book. Like we don't know any of that. That's really interesting." So I thought about it, and just like, yeah, why don't I see if there's even any interest out there for it? And so we got an agent, a literary agent in New York, and they basically had a whole bunch of companies bidding to do it. And we picked Abrams, which was really, really great, like, really nice book company. And then from that, that's when we created the English version. And then we started getting interest from all other countries. And Heroes Diff Hell contacted us and wanted to do it. So I'm like, yeah, let's go with those guys.
Pues esta idea surgió en una charla de Toronto, donde fue John Romero, y empezaron a contar vivencias suyas de cómo había crecido y sacaron algunas anécdotas que no se conocían tanto. Y ahí surgió la idea de, ostras, pues estas vivencias que estás contando, estaría muy bien que las pusieras en un libro. Y entonces tuvieron una reunión para empezar a hacer el libro de Doomguy, Mi Vida en Primera Persona, y ahí pues surgió la idea de hacer el libro. Entonces otros muchos países empezaron a mostrar su interés en el libro y a ser traducido, entre ellos pues Héroes de Papel, para llevar este libro al castellano. Y bueno, pues aquí estamos con la edición en castellano de Doomguy, Mi Vida en Primera Persona.
Yeah.
It has been difficult to go to the past, to travel to the past, to rediscover your memories, because it's curious because there are other game creators like Jordan Mechner, for example, that also have made that kind of travel, trying to know and to review all his life. Has been it difficult to return to that moment?
No. I have a thing called hyperthymesia, which means I remember everything. So anything that has happened to me, I remember it really well. Yeah. So yeah. So and I have lots of memories connected in lots of weird ways. Like if I listen to a song, I'll remember exactly what code I was writing. When I was listening to it, for the first time or a significant time. So it was really easy to do it. It was just like getting it all out there and then basically making it so it fit in a book, because we had to cut lots of stories. We had to cut like 30,000 words out of it, like, because it's just too big for what they will print. So that's great. That's fine, because the end of it is not the end, right? And it sounds like there's gonna be a sequel. So maybe in the sequel we'll have all those other stories from back then, in there. And what's going on right now, what I'm doing right now might be in the next one too.
Perfecto. Básicamente ha dicho que no ha sido complicado hacer el libro, que tiene muy buena memoria y mucha memoria para recordar todos los episodios de su vida y que de hecho, pues, que fue fácil la redacción del libro y que el libro, si lo leéis, pues veréis que aún continúa la historia, así que está trabajando ya en el siguiente libro.
So quickly. So you talk about hyperamnesia, that you remember clearly with a photographic memory all your events, but also your book has very personal moments. You talk about your grandparents, your friendship and breakup with John Karma, that are very personal moments. How was it like for you to revisit those such personal, intimate moments and share them with the world?
Well, I thought it was important to put those things in there because people want to know about it. I don't have a problem telling people about anything, so I'm not embarrassed about anything because like people share a lot of the same stories, and I've heard a lot of people who have read the book said that it's very relatable in a lot of ways, whether it's the way that I grew up, they grew up the same way, or like their game development journey is similar, or just they remember a lot of the same things that I did, that they did the same.
Yeah.
And so that's really helpful, and it's also uh, hopeful for people because sometimes people might not believe that they can get somewhere, but they can see this simple journey that I was on, and it's like just I guess do that, do these things, and maybe it'll work out. There's nothing magical in there. It's just working. So it's all it takes time, focus, and dedication to get somewhere, and that's kind of what it was about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, le hemos preguntado porque en el libro, además de su hipermnesia que le permite recordar vívidamente momentos que puede retratar en el libro, también trata temas muy personales como la relación con sus abuelos, su amistad y ruptura con John Karma, y le he preguntado cómo ha sido para él compartir para el mundo momentos tan personales. Y me ha dicho, pues ha respondido que pues para él ha sido algo muy natural, es un proceso muy natural porque estas vivencias en parte pues ya se conocían en entrevistas, ya se conocía pues su amistad, su ruptura con Karma, la relación con sus abuelos, y para él pues ha sido muy cómodo hablar de ello, que no se siente bastante cómodo hablando de ello. Luego también hay gente que comparte esas experiencias, que las recuerda perfectamente, testimonios de ID Software y demás. Y, y luego además que son vivencias que en el fondo conectan bastante con nosotros, porque la gente las lee y conecta con un lado muy personal de él y se identifica con ellas. Vale, pues yo también he tenido una relación similar con mi familia, he tenido pues también estas amistades con las que he tenido un proyecto profesional que luego pues por cuestiones de la vida, por diferencias, pues hemos roto y todo. Entonces, pues ahí lo tenéis y es un punto de vista que no solamente habla del juego, de sus obras, sino también de cómo su vida personal pues ha influenciado en esto.
That's really good.
Vale, una cosilla. Antes de continuar con la siguiente pregunta, al final, dentro de un ratito, tendremos espacio para 2, 3 preguntas. Así que si hay alguna pregunta así de las buenas que queráis hacer, id pensando, porque cuando pasemos el micrófono, que no haya preguntas, ¿no?
Sí.
Pero hay gente que ya tiene preguntas, vale. Okay, next question. We will continue talking about the book, but more in general, and particularly about Doom. When was the first time that you realized that Doom was a cultural phenomenon?
Probably soon after we launched it, like maybe even before. Like we had people calling the office asking if it was done and when's it gonna be out, which we'd never had that happen before, and we don't even know how they got the number to the office. So, and then when we were trying to put the game up on the internet, it kept, we couldn't get it online on the server to even put the game up. So we had to have the person who ran the FTP site kick everybody off so we could put the game up there. And then when people could download it, it crashed the internet. So the download server twice. And then people started copying it off of that server so it wouldn't happen again. And then it just like went everywhere after that. And we put it on BBSs. And so the fact that it was that big, that was crashing, just being able to download over the internet, not even a modem, but with the internet. So we knew it was going to be really big. And then we found out, it was installed on more computers than Windows, so we knew it was massive. like Wolfenstein was massive compared to what we had done before, and then Doom was just like 10 times that or more, you know? Yeah.
Básicamente, ya tuvieron un gran éxito con Wolfenstein, pero Doom realmente superó todas las expectativas, fue 10 veces mayor. Ellos se dieron cuenta al poco de lanzar el videojuego, ¿no? Cuando vieron cómo masivamente la gente lo estaba pidiendo, esa versión shareware, ¿no? Para tener el juego completo, ¿no? Para completar los estos capítulos. Y en unos tiempos en los que Internet no era como hoy en día, ¿no? Que no era el mismo tipo de red a la que estamos acostumbrados hoy en día. Había otro tipo de redes como las redes BBS, que eran como foros, por así decirlo, ¿no? A través de los cuales la gente se comunicaba y fue como un poco boca a oreja, ¿no? El juego se fue expandiendo, pero vaya, muy rápido y muy repentino, los servidores suyos quedaron colapsados, así que fue un momento pues que fue eso, muy ágil y muy pronto.
We talk about Doom as a phenomenon, and also your book, it's been a phenomenon as well. Forbes, the magazine Forbes, has labeled it as the best book about video games we have right now. How do you feel about this qualification?
That's it's massive honor, obviously. And yeah, it's my wife worked on the book with me.
Oh,
She's an amazing writer. That's why that's why the book is so good. Is my wife. We're a really great team, and it was a lot of work to like get all of the stuff written down, and then she's filtering because I have hyperthymesia. I think that everything is important, and she knows what's important, right? Because she's been in the game industry since 1981, so she's seen everything. She was in the industry when Doom came out and changed everything. So she knows the perspective, and so she was great at being able to sift through everything and make sure that like these are the important stories and things that happen. And then like there's so much editing that goes into like getting it down to what can fit, in a book. But yeah, it was it was a long process. It was like a year
a year.
at that book. Yeah, done. It was a lot of work.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Pues le hemos preguntado porque la revista Forbes ha calificado Doomguy, mi vida en primera persona, como el mejor libro de videojuegos que tenemos ahora mismo en la actualidad. Y le he preguntado cómo se siente ante esta calificación. Y me ha dicho que, por supuesto, es un gran honor que la revista Forbes lo haya considerado como tal. Y han mencionado a su esposa, Brenda Romero, diseñadora de videojuegos, que también fue muy revolucionaria en la industria, y cómo le ha ayudado a escribir el libro. Ella también es escritora, y entonces mientras él ha puesto la hipernesia de recordar todos los datos importantes y que él considera todos los datos importantes, ella le ha ayudado a estructurar el libro, de destacar qué datos son más importantes, cómo estructurarlo, cómo crear el orden, cómo hacer la narrativa atractiva al lector. Y este proceso les ha durado un año. Y aquí tenemos pues el resultado, que se ha hecho un trabajo entre los dos, el que ha puesto por sus vivencias, sus datos, y ella pues que ha organizado la estructura narrativa y el orden de los datos pues para crear una cronología y también para hacerla atractiva a los lectores.
Okay, for my next question, I need to go to the computer
Yeah.
and 1 second.
All right.
Okay,
You're going to enjoy this.
All right.
It's going to be awesome.
the question, like a question. Doom still today is being pushed. There are a lot of users today almost that are still creating mods about Doom. And I want to show you the way I play Doom in the time the game launched. Okay. Vamos a ver la forma en la que yo jugaba al Doom, ¿vale? Mi forma de jugar al Doom os la voy a poner aquí.
This is a Spanish cultural phenomenon.
Okay.
And
All right.
you're going to witness
Se puede ver ya.
big Spanish culture here.
All right.
¿Podemos poner la pantalla? Sí. Vale.
All right. That's a great mod.
this was a comedian from Spain, Chiquito de la Calzada, that was very popular in the 90s.
Yeah.
And this WAD file was very popular. And I remember playing with the Chiquito de la Calzada. And the question is, what is the modification, the mod, the WAD file that most surprised you in all those years?
I'd say My House, probably. My House.wad, the one that came out like last year. Yeah, they've done every trick that you could pull, making the level, and just how it changes over time, the exact same place. It's really, really amazing. Wow. So yeah, I played at least 4 hours of it, and I've only got maybe 7% of the way through it. It's just massive. It's crazy.
Okay.
So it's really, really interesting.
Ha comentado que hay incluso un mod de su casa, ¿no? Que le ha sorprendido un montón y que ha jugado un montón. I have to say you that I think there are some people that maybe remember more the Doom levels than the map of his own house.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people make the maps of their own house too, and their school and their office, and
Thank you.
yeah.
So Doom has been a cultural phenomenon. It's been taught in the schools and universities based on video games design, and also it's a very good example for today for the shooting genre. How do you feel Doom can teach video games today to modern designers?
There's a lot in Doom that can teach. There's like not just the actual code of Doom, which we released in 1997,
Yeah.
which is taught in university. Some universities have their students go through the source code of Doom to see how simple it is, because there's no C++, there's no object-oriented anything. Even Quake didn't have any object-oriented programming, so it's very straight C. So it's really great to study it and see how portable it was written. That's why it's on every device, is because of how portable it was made. Doom was not even written on a PC. It was written on a workstation called a Next Computer, using Next Step operating system, which today is Mac OS. So it was a game written on a workstation for DOS, separate computer completely.
Ah.
And so it was written very portably, so it could go from one computer to another one. So Doom already was like a port to another computer, kind of. So the design of Doom, the balance of the weapons, the movement speed, the way that things work in that game is like the basis of how you would make things work in a shooter. The combat resolution of like how you shoot something with a gun and how it takes damage, and the armor and all of that, which comes straight from Dungeons and Dragons. That's all D&D. D&D is basically in every game, but it implements everything that you need in a basic game. And so it's great as just a foundational teaching method. Just look at how Doom works. Look at the design of the weapons. Every weapon you get does not negate any previous weapon. So you can get the best weapon in the game, it doesn't negate the pistol. You still need the pistol for what it does, and the balance of how much ammo the BFG takes versus how much, a pistol shot, it's just one bullet. BFG is like 40 cells, which are very rare to get. And so there's the entire balance of everything in the game is done really, really well. So secrets and exposure to ideas, how you ramp the player up through the experience of the game and make things tougher and tougher and tougher as you get to the very end. Showing people, showing the player where they could go just by showing them at the very beginning, and then they figure out how to do it later. Just there's so much in the game. Yeah, it's just a lot.
Pues le hemos preguntado por Doom como elemento académico, porque Doom a día de hoy se sigue enseñando en las escuelas, universidades, en diseño de videojuegos. Y le he preguntado cómo ve el Doom, cómo actualmente puede enseñar cosas a los diseñadores de hoy en día. Y me ha destacado pues varios pilares del que tiene el juego que a día de hoy siguen funcionando muy bien. En primer lugar, el código. El código de Doom es muy bueno. Es un código que se escribe en un ordenador separado, pues literalmente un juego que ya fue porteado desde su nacimiento como código. Es un código que, código fuente es accesible, puedes acceder a día de hoy y comprobarlo. Luego también es un juego que a nivel de diseño es bastante limpio y puede enseñar a los diseñadores de cómo planificar el diseño de un juego. Luego también es un juego en el que el equilibrio, el balanceo de las armas es muy importante. Tiene un montón de armas, muchas opciones para el jugador y están muy balanceadas. Incluso el arma más básica, la pistola, la puedes seguir usando, la tienes que seguir usando incluso a niveles más avanzados, no descartarla a la que consigues un arma nueva. Y luego además tiene un sentido de dificultad una curva de dificultad bastante bien adaptada de cómo cómo el juego va introduciendo al jugador a la experiencia y le va conduciendo a una experiencia que cada vez poco a poco es más difícil. Y estas son cosas que a día de hoy pues pueden servir bastante a los jugadores. A los jugadores y a los diseñadores de juegos.
Hey, you ship Doom with a team of five members, more or less.
Yeah.
Then in 1996, you ship Quake with a team of 10 members. And I want to nowadays this kind of themes with these 5 people, 10 people will be considered indie game studios.
Yes.
I want to ask you, what do you think are the similarities and the differences between this ID from the 90s and the actual indie video game studios?
The independent studios
Yes.
today. A lot of independent studios, I think they are using game engines to kind of get their games made, which is the best thing you could possibly do. Like, don't try to make an engine unless you want to be on an engine development team. So it's really smart, because like today indie devs, the way that you compete is through game design nowadays. It's not through technology. The technology race is kind of over. So if you want to make something really cool, Unreal 5 will do everything you want. If you want to make a streaming MMO world, Unreal 5 will stream. So the tech is free. The tech is already out there to do everything. So indie devs have to now work on the game design aspect. And the difference between us back then and today is that we were competing in technology and design, and now today it's pure design. And so it's gotten tougher because there's so many more games nowadays. So the differences are, it was harder to write an engine back then. It has nothing. Those computers and everything had nothing to do with today's computers. They're so completely different. But and there were a lot of games before Doom. I mean, there was 16 years of games in the industry before Doom, and so there was a lot of stuff there. But games, anytime you're designing something, you were depending on other game designs before you, right? So Doom had a lot of stuff, like we made Wolfenstein before that, and everything kind of evolves, but you're looking at everything that's out there to try and make the very best thing. Usually nothing comes out of nowhere, right? It's always built off of stuff that's out there. So indie devs have a crazy amount of game design to look at, but that's the problem. There's so much games out there that you really have to work hard to come up with something unique. And so that's the unique challenge of indie devs today. So that's good because they don't have to worry about technology, because that was hard back then. But still, it's hard to make good game design today. I mean, only once in a generation are you going to find a Minecraft, something that just blows everything away. Like Minecraft has made more money than unbelievable amounts of games out there, and that was made by one person. And you find examples of indie devs out there changing everything, like Balatro, right? Has anyone played Balatro? So it's incredible, unbelievable. One person made this game, and it shows, like, its design. He used the love engine to make it, and it was the design that was super impactful and changed game. Now everyone's Balatroing every game, right? With design that's happening because the template is now out there. And another game dev, I think there's probably a small team, did Blueprints, which just came out recently. Has anyone played Blueprints? Blueprints is even easier. Yeah, Blueprints. Blue space PRINCE, like a prince, like a queen, like a king. It's an unbelievable roguelike mansion builder that has they came up with the design and the story like after about 6 months. They worked for 7.5 more years to create the unbelievable stories and stuff. And there's no voices in the game. There's no speaking. So it's unbelievable puzzles. But it's like that's the kind of indie dev work that today is what it takes to really stand out. So it's all about design and to like see that Blueprints, which spent like 8 years in development and has redefined puzzle games on any platform, by an indie dev. That's indies are still, pushing the front of design. Like it's not the AAA studios that are pushing everything brand new. It's always indies. So I've always been an indie, basically. Even right now, I have an indie studio. I've only worked at like I think 2 big game companies that would be considered AAA companies, but the rest of my whole career has been indie. But anyway, yeah. So it's there. The big difference is nowadays it's game design and it is very hard to compete.
I'm lucky that I'm sure that the majority of people here understands English because I have to translate all of everything now. My
You're doing great. Don't
yeah,
worry.
Yeah, you have.
mission is understand my own like. Ok, le he preguntado a Romero. Doom se lanzó con un equipo de 5 personas, Quake con un equipo de unas 10 personas. ¿En qué se diferencian? ¿En qué se parecen hoy en día los estudios indie de desarrollo con id Software en su momento? Y haciendo un resumen, básicamente, él ha puesto hincapié en que ellos desarrollaron sus propios motores gráficos, y esto hoy en día no es tan habitual. Hoy en día los desarrolladores muchas veces desarrollan sus propios motores, pero la mayoría pues cuentan con motores propietarios de otras compañías. Eso facilita mucho las cosas. También ha puesto énfasis en el diseño de juego. El game design es lo que hoy en día destaca para diferenciar una buena producción de otra. Y no tanto como en su época la tecnología, ¿no? El hecho de que cada juego supusiese un salto a nivel tecnológico. Entonces, también evidentemente los ordenadores de aquella época eran muy distintos de los que hay hoy en día. Era otro tipo de forma de trabajar. Hoy hay mucha competencia, mucha más de la que había entonces, en aquel momento, mucha más competencia, y ha puesto pues en valor 3 ejemplos, que son el de Minecraft, el de Balatro, que son 2 juegos que inicialmente se desarrolló más o menos por una sola persona, por así decirlo, y también un juego que yo no conocía, que es Blueprints, que algunos lo habéis jugado por aquí. También lo ha puesto en valor este ejemplo. Pero vaya, sobre todo, respondiendo a la pregunta, que hoy sobre todo no es tanto la tecnología como el diseño de juegos lo que puede hacer diferencia.
That was a lot of port, not layer port. Let me hear it for Albergat.
All right. Good job.
So we talk about that we compare Doom, the software, the early software with modern indie studios. You have been grandparent, one of the grandparents of the modern video games industry, and you have witnessed the story of the video games industry throughout all the years. Nowadays, we are in a very sad moment. The prices of the games are rising like crazy. There are lots of layoffs in many companies. How do you view this moment of the video games industry?
Well, a lot of it has to do with corrective measures after COVID, because when COVID hit, everybody stayed home and played tons of games, and that meant that the industry got much bigger because they were hiring tons of people to build more games for people to play, and so that happened. And then post COVID, there's a ramp down because people are out and they're vacationing. They're not at home, and so you have things happening. Those effects will hit other big companies like Embracer. Embracer basically started breaking up, and all of their big studios, like one of the biggest companies in the whole game industry, had thousands and thousands and thousands of employees at lots of different companies. So they started breaking up, but it's all an effect of like normalization of the game industry back to what it was pre-COVID.
Ya, I see. Pues le hemos preguntado, hemos abierto un melón importante a raíz de la influencia de, bueno, la comparación de ID Software con estudios indies modernos. Él, que es uno de los padres, abuelos de la industria del videojuego, que ha sido testigo de cómo ha evolucionado la industria en nuestros días. Hemos abierto el melón de que estamos ahora mismo en uno de los momentos más tristes de la industria del videojuego. Hay empresas con despidos masivos que hemos presenciado en los últimos años. La subida enorme de los precios que estamos viviendo. Y le he preguntado cómo ve este momento. Y ha analizado cómo el COVID ha influenciado en esto, porque en la época del COVID, la crisis del COVID, mucha gente estaba jugando a videojuegos, no podía salir, entonces se refugiaron en los videojuegos. Esto generaba que las compañías han contratado a más gente para hacer más juegos en menor tiempo posible para cumplir con esta demanda. Entonces, ahora que la gente ya sale, ya no juega tanto los juegos como en la época del COVID, pues estas contrataciones masivas que ha habido durante la pandemia del COVID, pues se traducen en despidos masivos y se está normalizando, digamos, entre comillas, una situación previa a la del COVID. Y ahora pues estamos en esta situación. By the way, do you know anything in Spanish? Do you speak Spanish or
I don't.
traducido?
Oh, no, I don't. I wasn't allowed to.
Le he preguntado si sabía un poco de castellano, me ha dicho que no le deja.
Okay, let's try to put a little bit of hope in all of that. I have seen my students from video game development here, and I have to say you that we play Doom in class. It's the shareware version.
Yeah.
The shareware version. We try to,
For educational purposes, I think.
of course, we try to send a letter because we want the full game, but nobody answers our letters. I know. But I know that Doom, the first one, there is a curious thing that the first level, I have seen that you said that it was the last to be designed.
Yeah.
Can you try to explain why, and maybe this give us some secrets so can all the people interested in developing games to improve their games?
Yeah, well, when a player comes into your game, you want them to have the best experience, so they want to stay in your game. And the way you do that is by designing the whole game and developing it to the point where, like, you know everything that's in the game. So when you build that first level, if you make it the last one you build, it has everything that you know about design that you've created while making the game. It's all in that first level. So you can expose them to what they need to be exposed to, but also that first level will have a lot of detail and things in it that if it was the first one you made would be really sparse, because you're creating the design language of your game as you develop it. So obviously you don't have forever to make a game. So when you start building in the middle and start going out from the middle, building your levels until you finally end up with the last one being made as the first one. And then you end up with the best experience the players go through, but also it's not like the end of the game is still great because you kind of go out, right? And so if you have time to go back into the middle of your game and make that better, then you can even it out. If you don't have time, then at least it will be a dip and then it'll go back up, you know? Anyway, it's a better way to develop it. You don't want people going to the end of the game and it gets worse and worse and worse, right? Okay. So, yeah, sorry. That's what you do. You just like put it all at the beginning.
Le he preguntado, dando un toque un poco más esperanzador, aquí están mis estudiantes de desarrollo de videojuegos, y cuando jugamos a Doom en clase, siempre comentamos que el primer nivel de Doom fue de hecho el último que se desarrolló, ¿no? Y John ha contestado que esto es típico en muchos videojuegos, que el primer nivel sea como de los últimos en desarrollarse, porque cuando ya estás en el desarrollo bastante avanzado, ya conoces pues muchas de las virtudes del videojuego y muchas de las cosas que tendrás que enseñar al jugador y que tendrás que exponer, se ha referido al verbo exponer al jugador en esa primera pantalla. El lenguaje del juego, exponer el lenguaje del juego, y de ahí la importancia de eso, de no dejar el primer nivel para el primero de todos, sino hacerlo de los últimos para ya intentar pues hacer un muestrario de todas las mecánicas que tiene el juego. Did you know that also in Super Mario Brothers,
Yeah.
the first level was the last to be designed?
No, but that makes sense.
Make them. El primer nivel de Super Mario Bros. También fue el último en desarrollarse.
That's great.
I was wondering if it's the same with Portal.
Portal?
Portal, I think because the first level of Portal is also being taught in universities, and I had the suspicion that it was created as the last one.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, Portal was called Nabtacular Drop,
Yeah.
and it was a student project at Digipen. And then Valve saw it, and then they brought the whole team in-house,
Yeah.
and then they did what they do, which is just go over the whole thing, and they plan it all out and just make sure. Valve, they had time to make sure that every level is great. But when you're a small indie dev, you're like getting your game out as fast as you can. And so if you have time, you could just smooth it all out, you know? But yeah, that first level being the last one that you build is always a really great, idea.
Yeah. Hemos mencionado Super Mario Bros., el primer nivel de Super Mario Bros., que también es ejemplar, que también se hizo el último. Y también le he comentado que tengo la sospecha que fue así con Portal, cuyo primer nivel también se enseña en las universidades y es un ejemplo de un buen primer nivel. Entonces me ha comentado que el caso de Portal, como es un proyecto de estudiantes, que luego pilló Valve, que luego Valve sí que tuvo tiempo de repasar todo el juego, comprobar todos los niveles, modificarlos y llevarlos a un diseño más lógico y más, digamos, más efectivo para el juego final, que es la ventaja que tenía pues el equipo de Portal con Portal. Now speaking about Doom, Wolfenstein, Quake, they are gloriously violent games.
Yeah.
And we enjoy that glorious violence back in the day. How do you feel violence in video games has evolved throughout the years, and how do we view it now?
We kill things in a lot of different ways now,
Yeah.
not just with guns. But yeah, I mean, really, it's still like games are super violent in lots of ways, like Monster Hunter World,
Yeah.
you name it. There's like lots of different kinds of things to kill now. It's not just Nazis and
Of course. Killing Nazis is always great.
yeah, it's not just the typical alien stuff. Now it's like dinosaurs. It's like all kinds of stuff. Like in my current game, there's all kinds of things being killed that were not in other games.
Pues he preguntado sobre la violencia, que esa violencia gloriosa, glorificada que veíamos en Doom, en Wolfenstein, en Quake, que era una violencia catártica, así muy gloriosa, y cómo a día de hoy esta violencia de los videojuegos ha evolucionado y cómo la vemos a día de hoy. Y esa violencia vista como una catarsis se sigue dando a día de hoy. Un ejemplo es Monster Hunter, que matas un montón de cosas. En Wolfenstein pues sigues matando nazis, lo cual está bien. Y siempre tenemos juegos en los que te da esa satisfacción de matar a un enemigo de manera creativa, de manera violenta y gloriosa. Y esa jugabilidad es bastante atemporal, digamos.
I think it's a good moment to. I have more questions, but I don't know if you, Laura, want to ask more questions or
We're running out of time now.
no?
Yeah, that was too fast.
Yes, because it's almost time.
Oh wow.
Okay, you have the last question. We're going to do a last question. The final shot.
Dejamos al público también. Por eso lo digo, de dejar alguna pregunta.
Yeah, maybe.
¿Quieres preguntar alguna más o
Well,
preguntamos ya?
your turn, so
Yo es que ya.
we can ask.
I want to thank you for one thing. Yeah. The double barrel shotgun.
Yeah,
Yes,
forever.
that's right.
Thank you. It's the best thing in video game history.
We added one weapon to Doom 2. That had to be in there.
Yeah.
And I would like to ask you about Doomguy. Doomguy, who's been one of the most atemporal heroes nowadays. How Doomguy stays to be so loved by the audience.
Well, because especially with the newer Dooms, he can kill anything. So, yeah, like even people that make videos of like Master Chief versus Doom,
Yeah.
Master Chief gets destroyed. So it's like he's like the ultimate destruction. I mean, if you see what he can do in the Doom Eternal in 2016, he's killing gigantic stuff on his own. So he's just like this unstoppable hero. But I think people like him because he doesn't say much and he just gets the job done.
Pero le preguntan el secreto sobre el Doomguy y cómo seguimos queriendo al Doomguy desde el primer Doom hasta el día de hoy, que es uno de los héroes más icónicos que tenemos. Y es precisamente porque es un héroe, es una fantasía que destruye todo, es el destructor masivo. Hay vídeos en los que lo enfrentan con el jefe maestro y el jefe maestro sale destrozadísimo. Y precisamente le queremos porque es un héroe atemporal, que no habla mucho, que es bastante poderoso. Y eso se mantiene incluso en los Dooms modernos y por eso le hemos llegado a querer tanto.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we have some questions.
¿Some questions?
Hello. Last year I made some videos explaining Wolfenstein and Doom graphics, and I have a question of one guy saying, "You're saying ID software a lot, and it's software." And I say, "I don't know, but I will ask John Romero." So, how is pronounced the name of the company, and if it's any story behind that?
It's id. Id is in the ego, in the superego, in the id. Freudian psychology.
Oh.
So it's id. Like the word did,
Id.
id, without the V opera.
We tell you.
Yeah.
La pregunta,
Yeah. It's like the core of your mind.
oh,
So,
pero has adelantado una curiosidad, este caballero del público, que hizo un vídeo dedicado pues, a Wolfenstein, a Doom, y alguien le corrigió diciendo, no, es id Software, no es ID Software. Y entonces le han hecho la pregunta definitiva, ¿cómo se pronuncia id Software? Y ha resuelto la pregunta con que es id Software, porque es una referencia al concepto freudiano del ego, el superego y el id. El id que es lo otro, entonces es id Software, en referencia a lo otro. Next question from our beautiful audience.
Hello.
Where are the Doom
I'm very
gentleman here?
amazed to say a question to you. You've talked about a lot of things, but there's something that I know it's very important for you. You have very good taste in music. You are a great metalhead.
yeah.
What about metal in your video game creations? It is important. Do you think that's something out there?
Well, I mean, it's great for any kind of aggressive game, because it's loud and it's fast and, it's not jazz. It's not, Bach or Beethoven. So, yeah, I put out a couple episodes for Doom, Sigil and Sigil 2, and they're totally heavy metal. And if you get the actual soundtrack version, you'll hear Buckethead in the first one, whose music is incredible. And then Thor, who's an unknown, his music is unbelievable. And I have him making the music for my new game right now. So he's just insane. It's so good.
Pues ha preguntado sobre el gusto musical de John Romero, que es el metalhead, cómo ha sido pues eso de hacer su música de metal. ¿Quieres seguir traduciendo tú?
No, para la siguiente pregunta.
Vale, la última pregunta, vale.
Listen.
Y es lo que se le...
Hello.
Hello.
Here.
What's the next question?
Hello, John. Thank you for being here. Well, that was my question, really. But regarding the sound process, it was the same thing like programming the video game. I mean, you program the sound design in the middle of the game, the last one thing. I mean, the music was the last step, or you have an idea of what kind of music won in the game in the first place?
Well, yeah, you nowadays basically put sound in as soon as there's graphics. As soon as you can see something, you put sound in. Back in the day, because I had to do everything, sound came a little bit later, but I would have temporary sounds in there while we're developing the game. Yeah. There was still sound, it just wasn't the final sound.
Okay.
And with the music, that takes time. And the earlier you put the music in the game, the better you'll know whether something is annoying, and it's good or not. If you put your music in just before you ship, you'll never know how bad your songs are.
Right.
So you got to put them in really early and get used to them, and either hate them and get rid of them, or keep them in there because they're great.
Esta pregunta venía relacionada también con la pregunta anterior de la música metal y todo eso, y como antes yo Romero ha contado cómo la música metal pues la iba metiendo mientras estaba haciendo el juego, y él ha preguntado cómo ha sido el proceso de diseño de sonido. de si repetía la música antes, después, y John Romero decía que tiene unos sonidos temporales que va metiendo poco a poco para ver qué tal funciona en el juego, si son irritantes, si funcionan bien, y luego lo que es ya la música ya está en el proceso más final, más descriptivo. Una vez en la parte del sonido, pues ya funciona con estabilidad y que se pueda oír de manera agradable o como se pretende en el juego.
Hay más preguntas.
Ah, I thought we were running out of time.
It's over. Yo voy a preguntar en español, me traducís, ¿vale? Sí. Tengo entendido que vosotros, tanto tú como John Karma, Adrian Karma y Tom Hall los conocisteis en Softdisk, trabajando allí. Y quisiera saber en qué momento decidís dejar vuestros empleos en Softdisk para iros y fundar id Software. ¿En qué momento decidís, venga, nos vamos y formamos la empresa? Gracias.
He got asked that you, Tom Hall, Adrian Carmack, and John Carmack meet in Softdisk. And in what precise moment did you decide to leave Softdisk to found?
Software. It was the second that I saw the screen move to the left. Yeah, there was a demo on my desk on a disc, and it was something that the John Carmack and Tom Hall had worked on overnight, and they left and went home because it was like 5 a.m. And they left this demo on my desk, and I put it in my computer, and I was expecting not expecting what I saw. I was just expecting to see something kind of funny, and basically there was a demo of my character running, but it's like a Super Mario Brothers 3 level. And as soon as the character moved to the right, the screen smoothly scrolled to the left, and I was just like destroyed because that never happened on a PC. It happens on Amigas and Commodores and Nintendos and all that. The PC didn't have that technology, and it's doing something that it's never done before. And I knew that it had never been done before. So, like that second, I was like, this company can't do anything with this tech. Instantly, it was like, we need to leave. We need to start a company and get out of here and start putting games out with brand new tech that nobody has. And so it happened like instantly as soon as the screen scroll. That's in the book. That whole thing is in Doomguy.
Me ha faltado pillar una cosa del principio, pero ya lo rescatarás porque sé que te interesa documentarte. Pero básicamente ha rememorado el episodio conocido de cuando intentaron hacer un juego de desplazamiento lateral tipo Super Mario Bros. Con un scroll suave en un ordenador MS2 en PC, que no se había hecho hasta entonces, y el hecho de que no lo pudiesen comercializar hizo como que decidiesen, el hecho de no poder sacar esa demo, pues ir a otra compañía, fundar una desde cero, y en esa casa fue IT. Pero como eres una persona que te interesa mucho el dato, luego lo traducimos mejor, ¿vale?
No, yo creo que ha sido buena traducción teniendo en cuenta además que hemos preparado la entrevista, la estamos haciendo en el momento, la estamos traduciendo en el momento.
Aquí no se oye nada.
Aquí, la acústica desde aquí es un poco regu, y todavía lo estamos apañando, así que bastante bien. No, yo creo que la ha producido bastante bien, o sea, está hablando eso de la idea de un videojuego de scroll lateral, y como en cierto modo también es una metáfora, ¿no? De avanzar hacia adelante, que llega un momento que no puedes ir hacia atrás porque lo que está más para atrás está ya destruido, no puedes volver.
Totalmente. ¿Más preguntas?
Hello, John. Pleased to meet you. I'm Enrique Sousa. I'm a journalist from Colombia. I played all your games. I'm also a cosplayer, as you can see.
Which character are you cosplaying? Sorry.
I'm an SAS soldier, but also Doctor Who. The unit soldiers.
Yeah,
Okay,
great taste.
thank you. Jump. What do you think about the movie that was started to play? Help feel good about the movie. And the second, and that question, how do you feel about being a pioneer of the 3D games? I mean, with their Wolfenstein, the really start the 3D immersion in video games. How do you feel about being a pioneer of that? Thank you.
Well, being a pioneer in 3D games is pretty great. I mean, they're faster than they were back in the 80s. In the 80s, there were some 3D games like Battlezone and a bunch of other stuff. They weren't really fast, but they were in 3D. In 1982, there was a game called Way Out that actually was very smooth 3D, but in a little bitty window. And so our job was to actually make that happen at a high frame rate with texture map walls and just make the modern 3D game. So it took a lot of work to do that, but it's just that's what we did. It wasn't like let's be pioneers, It was just like let's just make something really cool. That was the whole reason for doing it. And sometimes you turn into a pioneer when you try to make things cool. And with the Doom movie, we actually had liked the Universal back in the 90s, and they did nothing with it. And then eventually their exclusivity lapsed, and then get Orbis has that could get with another company. I think it was it to get a movie made at some point, and so that's when I think it went to Fox, 20th Century Fox, and so they made the movie, which I wasn't really a fan of this movie. The first person part was really cool. That was different.
Yeah.
But the rest of the movie just was not. It's not like Predator or Alien or like any of the movies that we think are super bad at. It was not like that. And it would have been cool for the Doom movie to be like those seminal action movies of the 80s, but it just wasn't. So it was like, okay.
Pues hemos hablado de un melón importante. Si me dejo algo, aquí está. Sí, we are teaming up for doing a great translation here. De cómo la película de Doom, que es una cosa que algunos recordáis con más amargura que diversión o comedia no pretendida, que cómo fue el proceso de hacer la película de Doom y si influenciaron algo. Y mientras ha comparado cuando estaban haciendo el juego, que sí que estaban en un equipo y planeando pues el diseño, la narrativa del juego y todo eso, los de dirección de Doom los tenía Universal, ¿no? Si no me equivoco. Y entonces, claro, ya no tenían ninguna influencia allí, entonces allí hicieron pues ya su propia película. Y que él le gustó la primera parte de la película cuando es en primera persona, pero que luego le falta ese componente badass que tienen de otras películas de acción, como Alien, como Predator y demás películas, que solo que sí le faltaba a la película.
Y respecto a la primera pregunta que ha hecho, fue fantástico poder ser una persona pionera en las 3 dimensiones,
Sí.
porque en los 80 ya existían juegos en 3D, pero tampoco eran tan fluidos, no eran tan dinámicos como fueron Wolfenstein, Doom y compañía. Pero bueno, la idea de poder ir mejorando poco a poco, pues, bueno, sí, es una cosa de la que me siento orgulloso y le gusta mucho, pues, poder ser pionero en ese ámbito.
Hola, yo también voy a hacer la pregunta en castellano.
Vale.
Bueno, dejando de lado la crisis, la subida de precios, hoy también hay muchas cosas maravillosas. El mundo de videojuegos ha evolucionado y tenemos cosas como jugadores que no nos imaginábamos en la época de Doom. Dejo esto claro porque no quiero que la pregunta se confunda con nostalgia o los tiempos pasados eran mejores. Mi pregunta es, igual que nosotros como jugadores echamos de menos cosas de los 90, como desarrollador y a nivel personal, ¿echas de menos algo de aquella época? ¿O qué echa de menos más?
So he has asked, we have nowadays, despite of the gloomy atmosphere in the video games due to layoffs, price rises, and so on, we have very good things in video games today that we didn't have back in the 90s. We didn't dream of having such good things, technology nowadays. But however, there are things that we miss from the 90s. Is something that you miss particularly from the old school video games, 90s era, at that personal and professional level?
You mean gameplay?
Yeah, in place, en terms of juegos, de personal level, professional level, in everything, global.
Well, I guess like we weren't secretive about our development back then, so we would talk about what we're making with people, just because we were not worried that even if we tell somebody how to program something, they might not do it the way that we would do it. And if we tell somebody our game idea, it won't come out the way that we would make it. So everyone has their own individual expressions in code or in design or, so it's not anything really to worry about. So we talked openly to anybody back then, and you can't really do that nowadays.
Yeah.
Just
To
because
compromise.
it's too easy to take that idea and make it a game in a couple days. Like, so you can't just talk about your innovative idea because then someone will just copy it. And I've had at least 2 games copied from just either stuff I wrote down or stuff that I've said. And so you have to really watch out now because development's really fast. And also, like, if you're getting money from a big company, you can't just give away everything you're doing because that just ruins the marketing department's ability to make a big splash, So that's kind of different now.
Yeah.
But I think other than that, there's a lot of the same stuff, like making games on a small team is really the best. Like, it's the most fun. The bigger the team, the harder it gets, the more people involved, the more layers of management that you have to have. Yeah, you can make really big things that way, but you don't need that for Blatro, you don't need that for Blueprints, you don't need that for Valheim or Minecraft or any of the really great indie games out there. Like, you can still make tons and tons of money if you just come up with a really cool idea. Valheim, they made 45 million in a few weeks. I mean, put your time in design, make something cool, small team. You don't got to share it with thousands of people.
Yeah.
Minecraft, $3.5 billion is how much Marcus made from that. Like, you can do it. You just got to focus on design.
Yeah.
And there's also, even though there's lots of layoffs in the industry, there's still a lot of development going on. And it doesn't matter what level you're at, whether you're intro level or not. There are a lot of jobs out there at that level. They don't need someone like that's really experienced to come in and do the entry level job because they don't want that person there to do that. They cost too much. Right? So all of those different levels of jobs all exist still. And so new people who are just graduating into the industry from school, they still have jobs open for those people. It's not like they're taken from everybody else that is higher level, seniors and stuff, because they're not going to hire a senior to do jobs that juniors would do.
Pues una de las cosas que echa de menos, digamos, esa transparencia que había antes de compartir el código, de compartir ideas de diseño entre equipos, porque eran equipos pequeños, el código pues tenía un poco más de perspectiva personal, de la idea pues del programador de hacer un código y compartirlo con los demás, haría ese clima un poco más abierto. Pues a día de hoy, por temas de copyright, tenemos una industria bastante grande, digamos que hay más protección con las ideas de código, de programación, de diseño y todo, y eso es una cosa pues que sí que se echa en parte. Ahora sí que tenemos una industria más masiva, estamos con compañías más grandes, con ideas, pues, con una demanda mayor, ya una demanda mayor, una producción mayor, a mayor escala. Y también ha estado hablando de que, dando un mensaje muy esperanzador, de que a pesar de los despidos masivos que hay, sigue abriendo negocio e empleo en la industria. Puedes encontrar un montón de trabajos que requieren un nivel de entrada, de principal, de entry level, y en los que no van a contratar a alguien senior, van a contratar a alguien pues que se inicia poco a poco en la industria y pues a partir de ahí. Y también hablo de que mientras ahora sí que hay compañías que tienen como objetivo hacer toneladas y toneladas de pasta, de dinero, sí que hay compañías que se interesan más en ese diseño, que es lo que ha pasado en Balatro, que el diseñador de Balatro está forrado, pero no era su idea, o sea, su idea era hacer un juego como Balatro, lo que ha pasado con Minecraft, lo que ha pasado con Blueprints y demás. Entonces sí que nos queda por ese mensaje. No sé si me he dejado algo, porque no sé si está...
So like,
Bless you.
what's your opinion on Doomguy? Like
Why not?
my best friend wanted to ask you that yesterday, but I forgot on the way.
So did I get that. What's opinion on what? Three. I felt that they took the game into like survival horror, which is not what Doom is. So I played it, but I didn't get that far into it because I just wasn't interested in I didn't even get to the part in hell.
Not your cup of tea.
Yeah, I mean, I like scary games, like, Resident Evil 4, but, like, when you're playing Doom, you're not expected to play a survival horror game, and, especially in the pitch start, it was one of those things where they wanted to show off the technology called dental shadows,
Yeah.
and, until they, like, put the game design around that, and, so it was almost like, here's a piece of tech that we're gonna make the game design around, is like, that I wanna see things in the game. I was also, just from knowing game dev for so long, when I got into the first, room in the game, I was just disappointed as soon as I got in there because I knew exactly why they built that room the way that they did, and it was to focus more on the depth of textures on the walls and the design of the entire space. The space was like the level design was very enclosed, it was very small because it was a lot of rendering power to just draw the room because of the layers of textures that make up a material on the wall. And so that, like, I call these things PVS halls, and they're called potential visible sets. It's like, how much data are you going to draw in a room? And they have a 90-degree turn to basically make the BSP up for them, cull out the rest of the level, so it's a very small area that you're looking at.
Yeah.
And they made the design on purpose small because the walls were so deep, right? And so to me, I'm like, I don't care about the texture on the wall. I care about the space I'm playing in. And I'm like, let's see if this is everywhere in the game. And it was. So I was just disappointed because the design was more about making the wall depth look cool, but no one's staring at walls, right? When you play a game, you're not staring at walls. So I was disappointed in a lot of different aspects of the game.
Básicamente, no fue totalmente de su agrado, le decepcionó un poco el juego al basarse sobre todo más en la tecnología que implementaba el juego Doom 3, que no tanto en la jugabilidad, ¿no? El hecho de que destinasen tantos recursos a la iluminación, por ejemplo, y que luego estuvieses jugando y no vieses casi nada, estaba todo a oscuras, ¿no? Y que se destinase tanto atención a eso, a la parte más tecnológica, y no tanto pues a lo que más le interesa a John, que es eso, moverse por el escenario, leer el escenario, ver qué hay alrededor del entorno.
Sí, recordemos que Doom 3 salió en una época donde el survival horror era bastante de moda. Entonces les interesaba hacer un juego más de survival horror, más que un Doom, que es más de shooter, más de acción y todo. Y entonces, cuando tú juegas a Doom, tú esperas encontrar un shooter. Tú quieres destrozar demonios con la big fucking gun, no te esperas meterte en una historia, en un survival horror, que es lo que le ha pasado. When you play Doom, you expect Doom 3 was in the survival horror golden era, so they were more interested in creating a survival horror game and not a classic action shooter game.
Right.
And that's it.
Ok, ¿tenemos alguna pregunta más? Vale, ahí.
Vale, escúchase. La voy a hacer en castellano. La pregunta me la traducen. Si pudiese volver al pasado y hablar con John Romero joven, ¿qué que hayas aprendido durante todos estos años le enseñarías para que lo sepa para el resto de su vida sobre desarrollo de juegos, obviamente, ¿no?
If you had the chance to travel back in time and speak to young John Romero, what would you tell him to learn about something that you wish you had learned before? The video game design. En diseño de videojuegos, ¿no? In general, yeah. Some life lesson that would be valuable to you when you were young.
Well, if I could do that, I would teach myself everything about the design language that has evolved from that point to today, or whenever I go back in time, so I can make those games that are makeable on those old systems. Because there's a lot of games that could be made on really ancient systems, like even Blueprints could be made on an ancient system. Balatro could be made on a Commodore 64, right? There's a lot of great design that has needed to evolve over the years, and I would teach myself all of that so I could make better indie games before making Doom, hopefully. But it would probably change everything. I might not make Doom because of that.
Pues lo que le enseñaría es precisamente la evolución del diseño, lenguaje de diseño, manera de diseñar, que servían en esa época y que pues la evolución, y que juegos como Palatro, como Blueprints, se podían haber hecho en la época, porque claro, el diseño de videojuegos va evolucionando, y sí que le hubiera gustado pues al John Romero joven enseñarle pues esa tecnología que entonces sería bastante vanguardista y factible en la época también.
Vale. La última pregunta de todas ha
Last
sido,
question.
pero nos han dicho que tiene que ser la última.
Sorry, I wish we could stay all afternoon here.
How opening your game engines under the open license has influenced the game industry, and what do you think about new open engines like Godot?
Open engines like Godot, like, are you talking about that? I think open game engines are great. I mean, I use 2D engines to make 2D games. I love them. I totally support them. Like, there's an engine called solar2d.com. They came from an engine called Corona before that, and we've made many games using that engine. And when that company decided to shut down and release their engine into like public domain, the engine programmer basically took control of it again, and it has a Patreon and a GitHub paying him to keep it going. And I support his Patreon as well, and he's hired a team back to keep on developing that engine. So it's a really great thing to be able to have even an open engine to support a team of developers to keep on making it better and better. It doesn't have to be an indie who just does it in their spare time. It can actually be something that people pay for. So I love open game engines, being able to modify anything in it yourself. The thing is, like, you always walk this line where if you modify anything in the engine, they could actually just stomp on it when they modify it themselves. So, like, we fix bugs in Unreal 5, but we need to know that, like, they're probably fixing them themselves and writing new stuff on top of it. So we can't really go too far with that. But it's great just having them anyway.
La pregunta era sobre qué opina John Romero de los motores de código abierto, y ha dicho pues que es muy favorable a ellos, le encanta utilizarlos, y que bueno, es una forma muy buena pues de eso, de crear videojuegos, ¿no? Más allá de los motores propietarios y clásicos, que se trata de un trabajo colaborativo. Cuando alguien sube pues el motor a GitHub, ¿no? Y otros trabajan con él, lo van mejorando, y bueno, él los ha utilizado en sus últimos juegos y es muy favorable a ellos. Muy bien. Hemos llegado pues al final. We have arrived to the end of this interview. Thank you very much, Mr. John Romero.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Let me get it for John Romero.
All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very happy to have you here. Very happy.
You. Thanks, everybody.
Recordad que tenéis el libro de John, Doomguy, que ahora está agotado, pero cuando se reedite vale mucho la pena. Muchas gracias a todos.
Muchas gracias a todos por venir.
Gracias.
Gracias.